good, actually. Yes. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. It's our pleasure to be here again with Professor George Binion from Brunel University in London. As I told you yesterday, some of you were here yesterday. George gave a talk. And we have this partnership between Brunel and UFI since 2019. It's a partnership which is funded by CAPES. So it's a program that strengthens the collaboration between Brazilian universities and international foreign universities. I think it's the third time that George is visiting us. We had some students, PhD students, that have gone over there. We, our professors, have also been there too. So there is this opportunity to establish and strengthen more collaboration between UFI and Brunel. And George is, is a very famous researcher on the multimedia and multimedia fields. So it's really an honor for us to have you here today, George, and hear your talk.
Thank you so much.
Give a huge thank to George.
Right, thank you, Deborah. I apologize for those of you who were here yesterday because the first two slides about Brunel is going to be identical, all right? I'm racking my brains to find out something which I didn't tell you yesterday about Brunel, which I can tell you now, so not to make it a bit more enjoyable. I recognize at least two faces from yesterday. But anyway, so as Deborah said, I'm from Brunel University. We are in Greater London, okay? And we have two distinguishing characteristics for a London-based university. The first is that we are a campus university, a solitary campus university. Now in London, perhaps just like Rio, land is very expensive. So to have a university with a unique campus is unheard of because universities can't afford that. So what we do is we are in the outskirts of London, almost like Niteroi, but still within London. And we are very close to Heathrow Airport, which is the main gateway for long-haul flights into the United Kingdom. So we are around 15 minutes away from Heathrow, and because still in London, with the tube, you take 40 minutes and you get into the center of London from our place, not a problem. That's the number one characteristic. The number two characteristic, no, I'm joking, is that, as I said yesterday, it's just like this. It's always sunny in London. Okay, so if you want to go to London and to experience sunshine, go there because there's a below 5% chance that you ever experience it. Okay, so this is one of those few days. In terms of size, we're roughly 2,500 staff, academic staff, and roughly 15,000 students. 5,000 are postgrad. By postgrad, I mean masters and PhD, and 10,000 are undergraduate. I'm not too sure how this compares with UFI. How many students are in UFI?
I think we have like 60,000, around 60,000.
So much smaller than UFI.
Some of them are distance learning students.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that in person, maybe 40,000. It's a big university. I think that UFI is the biggest university in Brazil in terms of undergrad students.
Really? Wow. We are roughly a mid-sized university. Now, two things I didn't tell you yesterday about Brunel, so maybe make your lives a bit more interesting, is that we are a very diverse university. We are one of the most diverse universities in the UK in terms of background, social status, culture, and so on. Okay, so we are very, very diverse. And we are one of the best universities if you want to go upwardly mobile, if you want to climb, a social ladder, it's a university. We are very good for that, for promoting people from maybe less advantaged backgrounds to help them to climb onto their careers and beyond. So we will try to be proud of that. We are also one of the most cosmopolitan universities in the UK because I think we have around 130 nationalities on campus, right? And for sure, Brazil is there as well. Okay, but it's not just Brazil, it's Brazil and 129 other countries represented on campus. Okay, so we are, again, we're very proud of that. The second distinguishing characteristic is that, okay, tell me some, okay, you don't know already the story, but in the UK, you call a university after the location in which it is situated. University of Oxford, Birmingham, Nottingham, Cardiff, whatever, Edinburgh, and so on. We are not named after the location, all right? Because if we were, we would be the University of Uxbridge, okay, which is neither here nor there. We are named after this guy who is a Victorian engineer. His name is Isambard Kingdom Brunel. And that belies our engineering heritage, because when the university was formed around 50 years ago, it was based on a big engineering college, joining together with other colleges to become a university. All right. And, like I said yesterday, Brunel, I'm not sure if to you sounds an English name, but if it doesn't sound an English name, you are totally right, because it's not English. It's a French-Italian name. So if Brunel is the French version, Italian is Brunello. And it's Brunel because this guy, his parents came as refugees during the French Revolution. All right, they came during the French Revolution of the 18th century. They crossed the Channel and came over to the peace and warm and beautiful skies of England. Okay, you see that I have something with beautiful skies. Okay. As I told you, we are a university around 50 years old. Okay. And because we are around 50 years old, there are always all sorts of statistics and blah, blah. If you are to believe all of these statistics, so some of these statistics, we are quite well situated for new universities. Okay, so here, we are what? 35th in the world and 6th in the UK, all right, for a new university, which, for a new university is quite good. Again, I'm not too sure how old is Rufi, but how old is Rufi? When was Rufi?
16.
Yeah. So so we are. I think we were in 68 established. So something like so. It's 50, same time as Rufi. Now, for my things, I happen to be the director of research in our department. Okay, and one of the lesser-known things is that we are actually not fifth, because this is an old slide. I did not update it. Sorry. We are now third in the UK in terms of citation quality and quantity. All right, so it's how much our work gets cited and in where does it get cited, and somewhere which has nothing better to do is computing all of these things, and then there's a ranking, and we are very proud. Okay. Again, something I didn't tell you yesterday is in artificial intelligence, machine learning, we are the number 2 in the country in terms of citation counts and so on. And I can tell you why we are the number 2, because just to give you some extra information, is because we have 2 very highly, can you see the strings there? You can't. Oh dear. Why can't, can I not, I think you are shared, okay, all right, doesn't matter. Okay, okay, I don't know where we are, but again, never mind. In any case, now I'm going to start talking to you about my actual talk, my actual scientific. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask me? I can see that that person wants to ask about 2.5K again, all right? So, all right, okay, okay. That will be the opportunity because it will come. That slide will make itself appear. Okay, now, Peter. I know I'm speaking English, which is a foreign language, but hopefully not Greek to you, all right? So if I'm speaking too fast, you tell me, George, calm down, all right, okay. If I'm speaking, if you don't understand anything, if you look at me and you smile at me, like that gentleman is doing, I will assume that everything is excellent, okay. But if you're smiling at me because you're nervous and, look, I'm too shy or embarrassed to admit that this guy is talking weird things, and, I don't know you, you don't know me, all right? No problem, you can say whatever you want, okay? So please, raise your hand, and if you think, George, you're saying rubbish or talking, weird things, like 2.5K is better than 4K, and we'll come back to that later. Again, you're very welcome to come and talk. Okay, or to raise your hand, even better. Okay, because as Deborah will tell you, we are very good teachers, but we are not mind readers. Okay, so we can't, we don't know what is going on in your mind. Although, judging by all of you, if I now look at you now, all of you who are like this, your body language is a bit defensive, yes? Because you go cross legs, like, oh my gosh, maybe he will start asking me questions in the next few minutes or so. Okay, so I know a bit about body language. Okay, so there you go. What is not my thing? Right. Any questions so far? No questions. This is an easy class. You know, I don't get any questions. All right. Okay. So just starting off with the thing which I mentioned yesterday, that multimedia is made up. The word multimedia is made up of two words: marketing and media. Now, the bad thing about that word is that it's a bit of a marketing term. Okay, because of course, it sounds. When it first came out 30 years ago, it sounded attractive. Okay, there were people, people were migrating from text consoles, to sort of graphical consoles where you had to load the graphic, and it was wow, amazing, and all sorts of things back then. And of course, the word was great. Now, back then, and even now, when you think of evaluating multimedia content, the problem is the following, that they are either evaluated purely from a qualitative perspective. What is the quality of the image? What is the quality of the video, right? Or, if you're on the gaming side and so on, or the streaming side, on an entertainment perspective. Okay, so how much did you enjoy this presentation? How, lovely was it and so on? The issue is that in most cases, the all content, it sort of happens to be on a spectrum of infotainment, starting from purely informational content to purely entertainment content, and it's not black or white. It's not binary. It's more fuzzy. Okay, it's between 0 and 1 with all the degrees of classification in between. So this is the problem with multimedia content, because when you have quality considerations, quality is fuzzy. Okay. And quality, ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, is always in the eye and the mind of the beholder, of the person who is looking at that. I will come back to that a bit later. So in my initial work, okay, I came up with this metric called quality of perception metric, which is quality as perceived, both, emotionally, affectively, but both intellectually and cognitively by the user. And I tried, to capture this infotainment aspect of media. All right, I wasn't just concentrating on the information side or on the entertainment side. Okay, now I'm not saying it's perfect, but at least it's a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look at this little graph. Okay, this little graph represents 4 different video categories. Category 1, Category 2, Category 3, Category 4. Okay. On the y-axis is a measure of... Oh, thank you. All right. It's a measure of, so I won't have to shout so much anyway, which is great. It's a measure of human perceived quality. Okay. So quality, when you ask people to watch these 4 categories of video, quality as they are viewing it and experiencing it and so on. On this axis, ladies and gentlemen, is the bandwidth. How much resources, networking resources, am I allocating to these applications? Right. Okay, comments. Have a look here, qualitatively. All right, what do you see?
Which are the categories? Are those different categories?
Who
cares? Okay.
Could be newscasts, sports, documentary, whatever. Okay, we call them category 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they're different, semantically and so on. Any points of view? Sure.
Well, it seems that category 1 is again using low bandwidth. Yeah. Actually, you get almost the same thing. It doesn't get better with more bandwidth.
Very well observed. Category 1, it already starts at 90%. So a person says this is 90% good, 90% of excellent. Okay. So for this category, to go with a 500% increase in bandwidth is total rubbish, total waste of resources. Maybe this was a category of a newscast. When you have a newscast, you have a single camera angle. Yeah, single camera, the newscast is sitting in front of you. The spatial temporal dynamics are very low because it's just a person in the background. So why do you need to do that? But look here. Look at this little category over here, category 4. So if you drop a line down here, it's plus or minus 200. If you go here and you drop a line out here, plus or minus 400. You have a doubling of the bandwidth, doubling 200% of the bandwidth for what? For 0% increase in the perceived quality. So the return on investment of a 200% investment, the return on investment is how much? 0. If you talk to an engineer, and I realize we all have an engineering background somewhere along the line, they will tell you 200 always worse than 400, for sure. Might not be doubling, but for sure, it might not be half quality, but for sure it's much, much worse. Okay. If you don't do user experiments to find this thing out, you never know. You are still left with a very singular engineering point of view of quality. And we can talk about that later if you want. Okay. When do you think this paper was published?
Bandwidth is KBPS. So
Yes, that's a good start point. So the bandwidth is in kbps.
Yeah.
So when do you think it was published? Do you even know what kbps is, guys? So far of a younger generation. 1995. This paper was published in 1995. In 2 years' time, it will be 30 years ago. Right? This paper was the starting point of my PhD and my research and my blah, 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 blah. The shocking thing is that you will find the same thing 30 years down the line. This I will show you. You know, Mr. 2.5K and 4K and all that. We haven't learned anything because, you know, always we are told to believe that higher resolution, higher frame rate, higher color depth, whatever you want to call it, is better, is automatically better. It is better if you have infinite resources. If you have limited resources, then perhaps a conversation needs to take place. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Are you happy? You are happy, yeah, more or less?
okay.
Okay, but maybe, you see, because here, look, no increase in quality. No increase. Yes?
I'm just curious how did they think that 500 kbps was like 100? Like, did they find it first?
Probably there might be some little extrapolation of results here. You know, so there might be some extrapolated, you are trying to fit in the curve. I mean, some people would say it's perfect quality, yeah. Okay, but I don't think many people did because it was a slider. So you have to, you know, so you always have to go all the way to the, okay.
So George,
Yeah.
in the did a class.
Yeah.
We refer to a paper from some Japanese researchers from the 90s also.
Yeah.
That
Oops.
they showed some results of the mean opinion score.
Yeah.
MLS.
Yeah.
On audio phone communication.
Sure.
And they have a set of people, hundreds of people, rating from 0 to 5 or from 1 to 5. And then what they notice is that if the delay, the end-to-end delay, is below 100 milliseconds, they all rate the maximum rate. So it doesn't improve any better if we reduce the delay below 100 milliseconds. So it's a simple result.
Yeah. And of course, in those days, there was a lot of work. What happens when you have audio communications and you start dropping packets? At what stage does audio communication become unintelligible? All right. And what are the best ways to replace the packets which you've just lost? Will you put silence? Will you just maybe replay some mean average, moving mean average, of the signal? So again, it's good people. We are human beings, yeah? And one of our great characteristics is that we are tolerant, we forgive errors. If I have now a little pixelation error over here, probably most of you would not have noticed it. And even if you noticed it, you wouldn't care. Or even if you care, you get forgiven it. Whereas in engineering quality metrics, this is an unforgivable error.
Now, Josh,
Yes.
COE and QOP are the same. But
No, because QOP looks like also at the informational aspect, how much, information retention, so it's more almost like information retriever. So it's a combination of QoE and information retriever. And by the way, QOP was proposed much earlier than people jumped onto the QoE bandwagon, right? And I'm always so annoyed about this. Okay, but you get the message. I mean, QoE is a purely entertainment, quality evaluation type of metric. It totally disregards the informational cognitive side of things. And when we watch something, we are cognitively interacting with it. Even if it's entertaining, we are still, our mind is at work. All right. So, guys, you saw this yesterday, but for the benefit of those who weren't here, in my early work, and this is probably applicable to you with foveated rendering, we were one of the first teams to do eye tracking, but on continuous media. All right. Now, as you know, audio and video, what are they? They are, video is playing at 30 frames a second, which means that you capture 30 pictures of me waving my hand, and you are playing it. And when you play it, the illusion is of continuous movement. But of course, it's not, because the resolution of my eye and my brain is not fast enough. So this is magic, because you are tricking somebody that this is actually continuous movement. So of course, as I said yesterday, there is a lot of work on eye tracking done into static media, like web pages. Why? Because that is why you always put the shopping basket on the top right corner of an e-commerce web page, because we read from left to right, and we always scan the right-hand corner. And after we always scan, we go down and we go a bit like this, and like in an F shape. And if you are further down, nobody notices what you write over here, which for things like Google is pretty important. So here, ladies and gentlemen, we did eye tracking, and we had two hypotheses. Well, we had a single hypothesis. One is, let us detect where people are actually looking in a frame. So over here, we just took one frame out of this snooker clip, one frame, and in the black is the background, is where people are not looking. In the original color is where people are looking. Same here, the same color coding. However, here we are trying a mathematical model of the human visual system. All right, a psychovisual model, psychovisual mathematical model of how we look. The issue is that these type of models are applied in video compression, in audio compression, and so on. Because of course, when we send huge media files over the net, we have to compress them in some way. Okay. So I'm not going to ask you, so for you two who were here yesterday, number 3 over there who were here yesterday, you keep quiet because you know the answer to this. I hope you still remember the answer to this. Okay, so what is the difference between exhibit A and exhibit B? Sorry? The boundaries. But you were here yesterday, so you have to keep quiet. Yes, he's right. The boundaries. It picks up the boundaries. Why? Because in digital signal processing, an edge is a frequency shift, and it shows that, look, you know, there's two things. There's option A and option B here, and something there is happening. So for digital signal processing, this is very important to the user. However, when you look at a snooker match, do you really look at the edges? You don't. And this shows you don't at the edges. The only edge that appears is here, and it appears here. Why? Because they are looking at a player who is about to hit the cue. All right. So, you know, modeling, reality. Reality, modeling. Also, as I said yesterday, the background here, the area, if you are to integrate the area, is much larger than here. Which means that this model overcompensates the amount, the areas of people that find perceptually interesting. Right. So all psychovisual, psychoacoustic model, they cater for, ladies and gentlemen, a worst case scenario. They don't cater for an average case scenario. And because they cater for a worst case scenario, they overcompensate. Overcompensation means over allocation more of resources, more expensive computation. So of course, back in those days, okay, like, you know, foveated rendering, obviously the solution is play the foreground at high quality, play the background at a lower quality, and just make sure that when you go from high to low, there's not a jump, a dramatic drop in quality. So you have a graceful degradation between foreground and background. And if you do that, again, you are saving computational resources. Okay. Any questions? Any issues? Okay, no, all right. All right, now we come to, you know, why I'm a professor of multimedia computing. And as I said before, multimedia, the word multimedia means two media. And the issue is that even if it's two media, even if it's three media, it's video, audio, and text, we are perceiving the environment with at least 5 senses. Yeah? Visual, auditory, tactile, gustatory, and olfactory, the most. We also feel other senses. We feel the sense of heat. Okay, the sense of heat is not a haptic sensation. Okay, it's thermoception, sense of heat. We feel the sense of pain. Okay, and pain is itself different sense. So we perceive the world around us in very, very different ways. And now we are talking about, you know, metaverse, VR, AR, XR, and whatever R you want to put there. We cannot build a digital version of a metaverse if we are still subjecting people to audio-visual. Okay, that will still be a very synthetic experience. So a few years back, I basically said, look, you know, we don't experience in a digital context, we don't use all our 5 senses. And wouldn't it be great if we did? So I came up with this word called Mulsemedia, which stands for multiple sensory media, where more than at least 3 of our senses are engaged in a digital context. People, I repeat, in a digital context. And you know, I did, you know, okay, this is old stuff, okay, but you know, I did stuff in that area, all right? And you know, people ask me, but why? You know, is it like smell-o-vision? Is it an old version of that? And you know, this is exactly what I'm telling people. Like 50 years ago, if you wanted to have a cinematic experience, you had to go to the cinema. Yeah. How many of you have gone recently to a cinema? Okay, that is less than 25%, I think. Okay, maybe 30%. Okay. Why? Because most of you now stream at home, legally or illegally, all right? Most of you have the display devices at home, plus the stereo devices at home, to give you a good audiovisual quality experience at home, which before you were probably only experiencing in the cinema. And recently, there is a proliferation of devices, okay, which enable you to have 3D, 4D, 5D, depending on how many senses are engaged in your home. And as I said, you know, there is a lot of work, and it's not means anything new. It's just that now what has happened is technology has advanced. Now, all of you, you know, now people sometimes understand Mulsemedia wrongly, okay, because they say, oh, well, it would be great to use smell. So yes, it would be great if I, you know, so when you're assuming that this is a mobile phone, yeah? So what happens? You receive a message, yes, from someone, and because you're in a meeting now, you have the mobile phone on silent, yeah? And then what does it do? Vibrates, yeah? To tell you, hello, you received a message. But why does it have to vibrate? Why? You can have a little scent emitter, and when you receive a message, you have a little nice fragrance in the atmosphere. You say, bingo, you received a message. This is known as an alternate modality. Why does it have to vibrate? If you receive a message from someone you like, it's a nice and pleasant smell. If you receive a message from someone you don't particularly like your mother-in-law, perhaps you change the smell. Okay. Yes, but assuming that, but usually all our mobile phones are usually in our close proximity. Okay, so yes, but of course there is this issue of smell propagation. I'll come back to that. But you know, so you see, this is just the use of smell as an alternate modality. We, in my work, we have focused on the integration of olfactory data with audiovisual content. And, you know, because I visited your lab, you know, so we don't realize we use smell. We don't realize. If you have surgeons, they know before, you know, after, you know, they are looking for some cancer surgeon. There are some types of tumors that the surgeon is able to detect just by the smell. They don't need to send it out for a biopsy. When you want to train surgeons and you want to give them a realistic experience, the first time, I know because I have surgeon friends, there are people fainting and losing consciousness in operating theaters. Because the first time they open up a person, okay, there is a particular smell to that. So So there is a lot of work which, done for training purposes, which can be used. Also, you can train people to cut people open without the risk. So, and we can talk and talk and talk. All right. So, in my work, I try to look at this, to try to use olfaction. And Shona is absolutely right. There's issues with olfaction. I'll come back to that later. But essentially, I wanted to, enhance the meaning of applications, to provide a more immersive and clear experience. Okay, to increase the sense of reality, and of course, also to increase the sense of enjoyment. And I write here that true olfactory integration is a challenge. And this is exactly what Professor Shora has noticed. Why? How is your audio and video encoded, ladies and gentlemen? It's very simple. The audio signal or the video signal is sampled, how many times a second, and you play back those samples. Once you play a sample, it's gone, because the next split second you play the next sample, and the next sample, and the next sample, and so on and so forth. Olfaction, once you spray olfaction in the air, the constituent bits of that scent, are they gone? No, they persist. They linger in the atmosphere. And that provides some real challenges, because you are integrating a continuous media such as audio-visual with a non-continuous, non-traditional media such as olfaction. Okay. All right. So that is the number one challenge. And this is the number one super-duper rocket device, which of course I'm being ironic. So this is a device which has been available for at least 15 years, and it's not rocket science. Anybody, any undergraduate student can build it. It's USB controlled. Here it has 1, 2, 3, 4 fans. You control via the USB, you control the rotational intensity and the timing of each fan. You can switch 1, 2, 3, 4 fans all at once or not, okay, as long as you want. Behind each fan, there is a little cartridge which contains a particular scent. It's not rocket science, yeah? It's pretty easy to do, and I'll come back to that a bit later. So, just going to start with some initial work which I did, which basically said, okay, I had 6 video clips. All of them had some olfactory semantic content. So one was of a burning wood. The other one was of a perfume. Okay. Here were about some fruits which are starting to rot. Because there was a time-lapse video. Here people were doing a fruity cocktail, okay? I don't think it was a caipirinha, but never mind. This was somebody walking in a wood in the springtime, and this was somebody doing a spicy Indian curry. So all of them had, specific content, olfactory content associated with it, and of course, we associated one of these scents, of burning wood, wallflower. There's a scent called rubbish. Okay, and and so on. So all the scents matched the content. The video, each video was 90 seconds long, and we only emitted the olfaction for perfect synchronization in the middle third, between 30 to 60 seconds. So, this is our graph. And what do we notice? This is the mean opinion or a mean opinion score, where here we said how were the olfactory, the aromas were synchronized with the audiovisual. This is too late, this is too early, this is appropriate. As you can see, between plus or minus 20 seconds, you emit the olfactory content, and it is more or less appropriate for use. How many times have you watched a newscast newscast, some of the television reading out the news. And you see the head of the newscaster and the legs of the newscaster. And the legs are saying something, but you are hearing something else because there is a delay between the lip and the words that are coming out a bit earlier or a bit later. Have you seen that? Yeah, it's a very common thing. It's known as lip synchronization. Okay, in lip sync, the same experiment has shown that in order to audio and the video to be synchronized, you have to have maximum synchronization delay of plus or minus 80 milliseconds. Here, perfect synchronization is plus or minus 20 seconds. So 2 orders of magnitude greater. And this is why, because of the lingering effect, it is audiovisual and olfactory is much more loosely coupled than audiovisual synchronization. Okay, so just remember that. Okay. Oh, sorry. Wrong. I'm showing off all my secrets here. All right. If you see here, this is in blue. Dark blue is sense of relevance, sense of reality, and enjoyment. And all of them are shown that more or less people agreed that they were relevant, they were heightened the sense of reality, and they enjoyed it. We were very concerned about these olfactory effects. You put some deodorant in the atmosphere, that they will distract people and they will annoy people. As you see over here, doesn't matter at what synchronization skew you had, more or less they're all around the neutral side. Okay, so people are tolerant of any such artifacts introduced. This is what really annoyed me, because I'm very interested in cognitive aspects as well, that olfaction did not lead to people, when I'm looking at QOP, in a higher information estimation. And you have things like aromatherapy. You have things, aromas which help a person concentrate. Okay, why didn't it help me here? So we performed a follow-up study. So what is this, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know what this is? This wasn't yesterday, so I'm happy. All right. Sorry? Crossword. Yes, you're right. In here are hidden 12 words. 12 words. Those words can be written top down, bottom up, right to left, left to right, as well as diagonally. Right. We had an experiment. We had 2 groups of users. The first group of users was given the instruction, this is the matrix, find as many words as you can within this time frame. All right. The second group of users were given the same instructions, but in that fan, we started having olfactory cues. Remember, the device had 4 fans. Within each fan, there was a different scent. Within each scent, as you will see, it had 3 different words associated. So look here. These are the words, by the way. So look here. This is aromatic, fruity, foul, smoke, fire, burnt, spicy, curry, rancid, strawberry, sweet, smolders. Those are the words, okay? Because sometimes people start to try to find out where the words are.
I'm very good to do this in Portuguese.
Okay, all right. Okay, no problem. We do the experiment in Portuguese. Excellent. Okay, we see whether it holds in Portuguese. Excellent. I now know what my next paper with Deborah will be, okay? Right. Hello? Hey. Stay there. Okay. So people, we had 4 different saints behind each device, and within for each saint, in the matrix, there were 3 different words hidden there. So for strawberry, it was fruity, strawberry, and sweet. For burning wood, burn, smolder, and smoke. For curry, spice, curry, aromatic. Okay. For the very bad smell, these were the words over there. And here, ladies and gentlemen, what happened was that the people who were exposed to this olfaction, they noticed a statistically higher number of words in that matrix. And this to me shows that, it's not a panacea, all right? So it's Mulsemedia, you have to be very careful at what applications, it's not a silver bullet, right? But if we don't do the experiments, how do we know? Sure.
So the smell would prime the mind to.
Of course. But that's the whole point. That's the whole point of aromatherapy, because it primes you to focus, or it relaxes you, and then you become more receptive to information, to cognitive process. Of course. Absolutely. It primes you, yes.
I was thinking about experience Disney. So Disney has a lot of theaters where you have pretty good smells. Right?
Yeah. Exactly, but that's my point. Before, and I didn't say, and thank you very much. Before, in order to get these experiences, you had to go to Disney World. Just like before, you had to go to the cinema. Now, you can have these experiences for relatively low cost at home. You tell me when I'm supposed to.
Yeah, it's.
Okay. I see Maristella there behind us. All right. Maybe I'll finish with this. Okay. As you saw over there, for each of the 6 video clips, the smell was associated semantically with what the video clip content was about. But I also asked myself, does it matter? Do I really have to associate the correct smell with the video clip? Maybe people just enjoy, like, wow, something new, something amazing. I've never seen. Yes, it's nice. I like George. I'll give him a good ratings. Okay. So therefore, we asked, does the smell actually matter? Do we have to have semantically congruent smell associated with the video? So this was our research question. Deborah knows how much I like research questions. So, is the correct association of scent and content important? Is it correct? So, we did another experiment where we had the same video clips, but look, for the first user, they saw burnt video, they saw the curry smell. Now the video with the burning wood smell. Fruity video with the wallflower smell, flower video with the strawberry smell, and so on and so forth. Again, these things were very cyclically. So they were seeing all these videos with incorrect smells. Okay. And these are mean opinion scores. And we had a control group which saw the videos with the correct smells, and the experimental group which saw the videos with mismatched smells. So these are the mean opinion scores, reflecting participants' perception of the sense of reality. And here, the control group is statistically significantly higher than the experimental group, which means for the sense of reality, you have to have the correct smell. The correct smell is important if you get the sense of reality. I also had a look at annoyance. Is there any difference between control and experimental group? There was no difference. In terms of distraction, any difference between control and experimental group? Again, I don't think there was any difference. Enjoyment. Again, to enjoy, you have to look at the correct smell. It's important to have the correct smell. So 2 more minutes and we'll go for coffee. Oh
For
yes.
the smell, for video, we have the camera that captures the video. Right?
Yeah.
For audio, you have the microphone.
Yeah.
For smell, you have a device that captures the smell of the environment and represents that in beats. So you can play back at the receiver and so on.
Sergio, on your birthday, you're asking very difficult questions. So like, okay. So let us start with your questions one by one. Do you have something to smell the environment? The answer is yes. You have a thing called an electronic nose. That is the good news. The bad news is that electronic noses, they are designed for hazardous environments because they want to know, is this chemical plant emitting something hazardous in the environment? So they're looking at, concentrations of chemicals in the environment, and if there's a certain level breached, then, some alarms are raised about that. Okay, could that be extended? Of course it can, all right, but then the electronic noses, they only give you the concentration of chemicals in the environment. How those chemicals combine to make a smell. The tragedy and the beauty of my work, oops, okay, all right, I will put it like this, okay, is the following. That smell is not fundamentally decomposable into orthogonal components like RGB. There is no RGB for smell, no. Okay. There are olfactory motors, which I think the smallest one I know contains, I think, 8 or 9 components, which you can combine to recreate a smell space, but the smell space recreates is lossy. It's not lossless encoding, it's lossy encoding. So, you know what I'm talking about. Now, whether the loss of information is perceptually relevant to the user, that's a different story.
So the solution right now is to annotate the video afterwards to say what's the smell we see.
But you can also, I can transmit from the UK to Brazil. I can transmit, okay, I can that fan, okay, I can tell, the fan here in Ufi, okay, this is the meta information of the scent, and you render it on the other side, because this is how pixels are transmitted over the web, yeah? You don't transmit color over the web. You just transmit, an encoding, which on the other side is rendered by a device. Whether that device is good or bad or what that, is on the receiver side. So yeah. But there's no RGB. And there's a lot of work trying to find the best RGB.
And then before the break, are you going to talk about the other senses?
If I want to talk about other senses, you have to invite me again, all right? Okay. One sense at a time, all right, okay. But most of my work has been done with olfaction, but okay, I'll tell you now, I keep this story for the end, okay? But I'll tell you now because it's your birthday, all right, okay. All right. Okay, talking about the other senses. Olfaction, of course, to me is amazing. Like I have a lousy nose anyway. I don't smell well. Okay. But for me, the most amazing taste, amazing sense is the sense of gustation, the sense of taste. Why? Because I'll tell you why. In one little paradigm. I think Deborah is sick and tired of this story. Because I think every time I give a talk, I usually tell it. Think of food. Food tastes differently depending on the temperature at which you eat it. It's obvious. You eat the pizza from the fridge and pizza in the microwave or pizza in the oven, and it's totally different. You do a churrasco on a barbecue and you do the same picanha in the grill in the oven, the taste is different. So temperature, medium of cooking, medium of carbonification matters. Okay. Matters on your taste, yeah? Okay. Remember that. When you are chewing something, the crunchiness, the chewiness of something also contributes to your sensation of taste and eating. Yeah? Okay. Taste is the only sense which is invasive. All the others are located on the outside of our body. Taste is okay. All right. So keep that in mind. Now, I went to this restaurant in London many years ago, pre-pandemic. And this restaurant is great because it's a restaurant which is called Dans le Noir, which means it's French and it means inside the darkness. And why is it great? Because in that restaurant, you dine in complete darkness, pitch black darkness. You put your hand here, you see nothing. You ask again, how, who are the waiters? Well, what happens? How the waiters are blind. Okay, the waiter comes, you put your hand on his shoulder, whoever is sitting with you puts their hand on your shoulder, you form a little convoy, and the waiter leads you to your table, and you sit there, you don't get out. Okay. Before going to eat, they ask you, do you like meat, fish, or vegetarian? And you choose. They don't tell you what you're going to have. Okay. And you go. Now, it's very interesting because here, think about it from a psychological point of view. In the real world, the blind people depend on your help. In this restaurant, you depend on the blind person to help. They are the masters and you are the slave. Interesting. Of course, when you have this meal, it doesn't matter how fancy you dress. Might be nice if you have a nice perfume on, okay? But how fancy you dress, whether you want to poke your nose or your ear, doesn't matter because the person behind you. So just the quality of conversation is good. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, I had it's a 3-course menu, whatever you choose. I guess at the end, they say, oh yes, I had the fish. And yes, they tell me, yes, you had the fish. Well, this is what you had. And they show, guess how many dishes out of the 3 I recognized. I recognized the first one because it was a prawn cocktail. What was shocking for me was that the second dish is monkfish. I'm not sure what is monkfish. You can go to Uncle Google and see the translation. All right? It's monk, M-O-N-K fish. Monkfish is my most favorite fish in the world. It's like filet mignon, the fish version. I was not capable of recognizing. It tasted bland. It was like eating paper, tasteless. And then I realized you start eating with your eyes way before you start eating with your tongue. If you don't see what you are eating, you don't have it.
Yeah, it's called tamboril. It's a kind of fish.
It's a kind of fish. That is my favorite fish. Okay. You start eating with your eyes way before you put anything on the tip of your tongue. And taste is because the eyes get involved, the temperature gets involved. the haptics, the mastication gets involved. Taste is not your tongue. People say, oh, taste is just the tongue, you know. Taste is a complex interaction. And it's a very, very peculiar taste you have. Sorry, sensation. So it's not, this is my first interest. Okay,
So there is hope, right? There is hope to create an environment with the proper temperature and aroma and video, and then maybe your mouth will begin to wet because you are tasting well that region of.
And this is one way of, encouraging people to lose weight by stimulating their senses and, giving them the impression and the sensation that they are eating, the enjoyment of eating without the calories. Why do all of us eat chocolate? Okay, because it gives us a sugar high, but can we perhaps have the sensation digitally without people, have the same sensation without the calories? I don't know. This is for next time. Okay, so on that sweet remark, I think we can have some coffees, or I'm not sure what is there. Okay, so shall we take a break? If you want me to finish now, I finish now. Yes, okay, I finish now. We go home. All right, no problem. All right, just tell me. Okay, I was joking, guys. I have a sense of humor. Okay, so come on.
Intervalinho de
8, yeah, okay. When I can send the cookie over the internet, then my work will be done. Exactly, yeah. Okay.
He values the project experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Else for the whole lot, you use a lot of things.
Really? So, okay. So is that, can you send me, okay. By email, can you send? Or, yeah? Okay. George? Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Because they were in the evaluation, they were being asked, did you feel the scent? Was it nice? Was it distracting? Okay, they did not. Okay, so these people they were feeling the correct sex.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had that in another where we were just putting air. There was no scent. Okay, but it was just air, just to tell them to think that they are supposed to smell something, yes, but not in this study, right? This is another study, but you are right, you are right.
Probably to talk about it. But, okay.
You can't. You have no control. That's what I you know, audio and video, you have control over it because it's by using a powerful when you have a bad smell, you can smell to cancel it out. Okay. So you cannot, like press the play, switch on. That's not the difficult thing about it. You cannot now. You have to make it dissipate action. Taking a sufficient quantity, not too much.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the minimum.
The minimum necessary just to create the sensation, because the sensation is not here. This is your nose. If you put a smell there or there, maybe it's enough. And you will see a device, most of the devices which dissipate smell, they are around the user's nose.
We have research on the outside, stuff like that. We use a device that it's quite similar to that. You show the fans.
Okay.
That's the thing. We are buying to count the sales we produce, and then
You can have a so-called odor neutralizer, which kills the smell, like ugly smell, right? But in order to kill a smell, you have to produce an ugly smell. And of course, the ugly smell smells itself of something. Okay. And of course, it's not instantaneous. It's not like you switch on, switch off, right? Again, to kill the smell. Also, there's fades. There is attenuation. Yeah, I mean, that is why it's a challenge of working in this multi-sensory environment. Okay. I know that she's working on it, yes.
Apart from my part, apart from my challenge, it's a quite you have
Vacation cafe, right?
Environment, dining,
Okay, all right.
television and all. So you have gesture, recognition, and drag, all that stuff. And it's
Okay.
I to bring use case that I designed previously, especially I wasn't able to finish it. So
Okay, maybe next time. Maybe next time. I hope you'll still be around next time.
eventually I'm going to finish it this semester. So worst case scenario, I make a video.
Okay, very much. It's not going to be the same thing, but let me try to tell camera so you finish by 5 o'clock. Let's go. We want to finish by
Let's go,
6.
let's
We want to finish by 6 o'clock.
Yes.
So, so before we took the break, I think that all the professors except Deborah have gone away. So I scared them, or they all went home. Sergio is out, Shora is no, Joel is back. Joel is here. Okay. So before we broke, we were talking about whether it is important to experience the correct set associated with the audiovisual content or not, and we saw that for enjoyment and realism, it is actually important. We also did a further analysis in this study, and depending on the particular set that we used, we categorized users into 3 categories. Users who know what they smelled, who recognized what we were emitting. Users who were smelling what they were seeing, not what we were emitting. And the third category, what do you think the third category was? Sorry? Users who had no clue what was being smelled. Okay, so these were the types of users, and again we split our analysis. So this is according to if you look at the sense of relevance. Okay, so if people want to see smells and for them to enhance the sense of relevance, it was people who were smelling what they were seeing. So those people who were smelling what they were seeing, not what they were actually supposed to smell, they had a mean opinion score much higher than all other groups. So attention, people smell what they see, and they think it heightens the sense of reality. That's interesting. How about distraction? Well, in distraction, nothing. In about annoyance, again, I don't think there was anything, if I remember correctly. Again, for the sense of, actually, this is this is what I want, the enjoyable, only the people who know what they were smelling enjoyed it. Which is interesting. Okay. Then in work further down the line, we started combining these sensory devices, and this was an airflow device, a glorified air conditioner, or the ancestor of a glorified air conditioner. This was this device, and this device, ladies and gentlemen, is a haptic gaming vest. Okay, so when you play games and if somebody shoots you, the whole vest vibrates, your whole body gets a vibration. And then, we used a combination of video clips taken from movies which were probably before most of you were born. One is the first Jurassic Park, all right? Okay, and here, there was a dinosaur attack, so, okay, lots of haptics. There was a person, jumping a parachute, so wind blowing to the air. And there was, taking some alcohol and olfaction. And again, the movie Back to the Future, okay, which was before I was born. Okay, and haptics as well, air, little explosion, and the smell of burnt toast. And what we did was here in Napis, because we looked at different encoding sequences. All right, we looked at high quality and low and average quality for both. All of them were encoded in MPEG-4. The high quality was 30 frames a second, the average quality was 34 frames a second. And this was, like 2.5K was the mother of all qualities, So this is data study, but this other resolution and so on. Okay. And what we did was we combined all sensorial, all 3 different senses. So as you see here, for each high and low quality, we had we had high and low motion, we had no effect, just the air, just the olfaction, then combination of two, and then all three combined. So we had, 8 possible combinations because we had 3 different sensory effects. And when we did have olfaction, okay, depending on whatever was viewed, we had a particular semantically congruent scent to match the video. All right, so it's the same for both high motion clicks as well as low motion clicks. And this was just a Jurassic Park. Of course, we have a similar matrix for the Back to the Future. So on the good side, okay, higher quality multimedia sequences did result in higher quality of perception levels. However, in terms of multimedia content, okay, this is multimedia, so no sensory effects. When multimedia content, there was no statistical significant difference between average and high quality. So when you use multimedia, you might as well go for average quality rather than high, because even if you go for high, people would notice it, and even if they do notice, they don't care. We also asked which are their preferred effects. Now, of course, I was very sad because olfaction was the last. Okay, so it was haptics and air followed by olfaction. But what is important is that user enjoyment levels were still high when lower multimedia quality sequences were utilized in conjunction with sensory effects. And again, I return to that original graph with the 4 video categories and the bandwidth and so on and so forth. Okay, just as the same result a few years down the line. Since we are in an education institution, I still think that in terms of e-learning, we are in the dark ages, right? Because we are still sort of doing digital twins of books. So we are having a digital twin of a book and putting it online, and then boom, there we go. We call it e-learning, and it's very, it's very limited because each one of us we process information differently. We have different cognitive capacities. Some of us prefer information in words, others prefer information in images. We do not cater for this or we do very little catering for this in e-learning. And of course, we learn through all our senses. Okay, and there's a lot of work in pedagogy which shows how people learn using the plenitude of their senses. Yet in a digital context, we don't do it. Although people, this is well known. This is well known from the psychopedagogy. So if you have multisensory education, it facilitates memory, training outcomes, learning outcomes, and it facilitates a reduced mental workload. So why don't we take advantage of these findings from pedagogy and transport them into the digital context? So, it's, to me, it's shocking, all right, and we are still in the digital dark ages when it comes to learning. Okay. So, I can only make a small contribution in this area. So what we did was with some collaborators from Taiwan, we designed the digital board game, which was a multisensory board game. They had to sail around the coast of Africa from Europe to Asia to Taiwan to bring spices. I think during that sail they encountered boats and they fought pirates and haptics and smoke and all sorts of other effects. And they were learning things about speed, about navigation and speed and composing speeds. So they were learning physics and chemistry and all other type of things. And this gentleman was it was a game of immunity, right? So 4 people playing at the same time, and all of them were competitively. We had all sorts of actions. Okay, each sort of actions came with specific sensory effects. And you also, people could also communicate and, give each other tips on how to cooperate or not, because we also wanted to look at cooperation in the game. So we had 4 different versions of the game. Was on a mobile or a PC platform, with and without olfaction. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, I guess they are condition. Of course, when olfaction was present, they had to smell the spice that was being transported and recognized, and then they got some brownie points, and so on and so forth. And, of course, we wanted to see if using olfaction increased the learning outcomes as well as the performance. So here we have 2 high school students from Taiwan. I think this boy, he's playing the PC version of the game, whereas the girl over here, she's playing the mobile version of the game. So roughly, 120 participants. They were divided into 4 groups. Okay, they were initially all equal, but then, we had some small problems, and some of them we had to eliminate from the final study. But the groups are almost equal, right? And what did they answer when they had this self-reported engagement? Yeah, it's all about whether the multisensory experience enhance their enjoyment, enhance their ability to assimilate concepts, to improve the learning experience, and so on and so forth. Okay, so. All about the whole experience. And if you see here, it was a scale of 1 to 5. Most of the questions were rated very positively, around 4. These questions, which were low score, they were phrased negatively. So phrased negatively means actually this is a positive response. Yeah. Okay, so we didn't sort of mirror code that. So again, it shows that we have the potential to utilize extrasensory effects to facilitate learning, to make learning enjoyable as well as better information capable. So to recap, game update. They would like to do it again. But as I repeat, we have to be very careful in the types of multisensory experiences that we create, because it's not a panacea, it's not a silver bullet. We have to be very careful how we create this content to achieve the maximum intended effect. Okay.
George, in this work, you allow the user to customize the sensory effects. So, what I mean is, some people they prefer to study at night, or some people they like light bulbs to study, and then they have their understanding. And it sounded like from your talk that psychology is a major part of the research, and that like you said yesterday, you're always using it.
Yeah.
So everybody speaks from each other, right? So do you think it's necessary to customize?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think so. I think it's our learning environments need to be customized to each of our preferences in a multisensory manner. However, do you know what a tragedy is? Like, I think the students will not be when I say this. Or I hope the students will not be. I'm not too sure. Maybe they will hate me. The tragedy is the following, is that there is a lot of work, the overwhelming majority of work, maybe 90% of work, is done on customizing learning content. Almost no work is done in customizing assessment. We are still assessed by in an exam, blah, blah. We should be assessed in a format which suits us best as cognitively. And there is almost no work done into what is the best way of tailoring the assessment to the individual, so that there is a level playing field. Because at the moment, the way we assess only, if we are talking about exams, only favors the people who like, text, writing a lot of text and, typing it in or writing it out. And that I think is very bad. Because people who process information visually and graphically are disadvantaged by this type of assessment. The assessment disadvantages them. That I think is a big tragedy. Am I right? You are supposed to say, yes, George, yes, people should listen to you, all right.
What's the alternative?
Sorry?
What's the alternative?
Personalized assessment, where you say, I'd like to be assessed in this manner by using this media content, because this is what I fear allows me to express my knowledge best. The problem is that sometimes people don't know how to express this.
They have oral exams, which students don't like most of them don't like oral exams.
Okay. I don't know, maybe some of them like. Maybe if the guy talks, you like oral exams? Okay, you see, so she likes, you see. All right. What do you prefer, oral or written exams?
They have exams that you can also responses.
Yes, open book exam, yeah. Yeah.
And others that you cannot. And sometimes they prefer the ones that they cannot, but the ones that you can. The open book exams are usually harder, right? There's no so, yeah. But I understand that.
Yeah, I think it's a big pedagogical debate, What? You wanted to say something?
Well, I was there, so I'll say, well, actually, there are several studies about different ways to assess students.
Sure.
And the main reason that students don't use it, and they say this not all as a student, also as a professor, because I teach high school.
Yes.
And the professor is the one who doesn't want to make difference.
That was what I said. The way we assess is because of convenience of marking. Full stop. It's full stop. End of story. It's not what can I say? It's still a very dictatorial way. It's not a very democratic way.
And to tell them how they want to come up with how they make so it's an evaluation during time, all the processes. Yeah, it's much harder.
It's
It's subjective.
this is another
Subjective.
this is another big debate, because if you have exams, you don't assess the process. You assess the outcome. Is it fair? I tell my PhD students, I tell my masters, my MA students, I say, look, if you do a wonderful piece of work and you do a lousy piece of a write-up, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Because what we are assessing is not what you've done along 3, 4 years or months of your life, but what you produced in the final 2 months. And if what you produced in the final 2 months is not good enough, I am very sorry. So please do justice to your efforts. Okay, but then again, if you assess longitudinally, you will then be accused of over-assessment. Like, oh, again I'm being assessed, again I'm being assessed, okay. My solution, you know what my solution is? The easiest solution for educators. What is my solution? What do you think my solution would be? No. We assess. Peer assessment. You assess each other. My God. The things that students say to one another, I will never dare to say in 100 years. You are more strict with each other than I could ever be. So you assess each other blindly. You don't know which one you are assessing. And then what I do is I moderate. That sounds okay. That is the best. So no work for me, or very reduced work. A bit of question. And you assess each other, and they kill each other. They really, they really sharpen the knives and they go for it. Okay. You are laughing.
The thing is, not all students assess. Sometimes just okay, fine.
That is why I moderate. Okay, to see that the quality is there. But you make students assess each other blindly, double-blind assessment. Works perfectly. They give each other marks which I am afraid of giving. Okay, because your expectations are much higher, and I think students they like the responsibility. Okay. And then after they do it once or twice, they say, you know what, it's too difficult. Why don't you mark? All right. They come back to you. But honestly, would you like to be assessed by your fellow students? What do you think?
I think it's a nice way to learn now.
Sorry?
It's a nice way to learn because when you're checking the other one's knowledge, you're improving yourself.
Okay, yes, exactly. You're also learning at the same time. It's not just assessment, it's a learning experience too. Absolutely. I agree. It was a learning experience for me to see, students assess each other. And I always tell this, your collective intelligence is much greater than mine.
How was it the written exam?
Yeah, it was a written exam. Double blind, you give them the marking scheme.
They correct.
They correct. And my God, it was like, oh my gosh, yes, they were sharpening the knives and they were like psycho, like. Okay.
Some of us kind of already do it because they study this. We do assess each other.
Sure. And for me, it's fine. Because the important thing is not assessment, the important thing is to learn. And if you learn, that is great. The problem that we have, we on this side of the fence, is that the government, the state, they want to make sure that we are teaching you. And the only way we can show that we are teaching you is that we have to assess you. And hopefully to show the government or the Ministry of Education or whoever that your learning is going up or going in a certain direction. And I'm not sure, I don't know. You tell me a better solution.
They need scores.
They need scores. They need to show to the taxpayer that their tax dollars, their tax reais are being spent well.
Nice fans, nice rules, nice lighting, so your students will learn better than the other.
I don't know. Yeah, I think assessment, there are many problems with assessment. And I think assessment and learning is something very difficult to do well. Also, the way that we assess, again, because it's convenient, Deborah has her exam, I have my exam, Sergio, you have your exam. Again, what we are assessing is we are assessing very niche specialist topics, whereas learning is integrated. So if I would assess, I would assess in an integrated fashion. I would have a common exam for all of us. Maybe that is one way, because we are doing a synoptic integrated assessment. Okay. Because we don't learn in a modular fashion. We don't switch off, okay, I'm learning mathematics, now I'm learning English, and then I'm learning science. That is not how we learn in the real world, is it? We learn in an integrated fashion. So there we go, all right. Any questions? You want me to start teaching here at Kofi, and assess you, in an integrated fashion and so on? Okay. So again, when I was a kid, I went to a chemistry class, and I was a good chemistry kid because I used to read the book and I memorized everything. And you know, when I went there, I was assessed by how well I memorized the thing, not whether I understood anything. So I used to say like a poetry. And then the first time I did an experiment, I was so excited, you know, because I put on a white lab coat, and the teacher, you know, she gave me the chemistry kit. And you know, I read the instructions, take this thing from this bottle and this thing from this bottle and put them together, and you know what happened? Explosion. And then fire, and you know, my book caught fire, the edges of my book caught fire, because of course in the book it's written, look, this is an exothermic reaction, you know? But of course you read this, but you don't process, exothermic, one more word, okay. So, this is, again, I never liked chemistry again in my life, okay? I was a total anti-chemistry guy, all right? Then my grades in chemistry went downwards. But this is the point, because when we learn experientially. And you know, it would be great to have this thing in virtual reality, where you have, you know, chemical reaction, where you have wind and smell and heat and coolness, okay? Because this is what happens here. This is how kids learn physics, and especially like in a pandemic. How do you teach kids in a pandemic about chemistry? It's very difficult. So this is my favorite, you know, multimedia scenario. And a few years ago, we had this project, European Union project, you know, about e-learning in around 12 European countries, all right? And of course, in Europe, maybe in Brazil too, we have a problem with science and technology because kids, they don't like it. So any way of making, science and technology more attractive is very, very welcome. So in an ideal world, I'd like to run a chemistry map in the metaverse. Right, there we go. Complete multisensory map. Now, do you remember that haptic vest that I showed you previously? That was 10 years ago. This is the modern sexy version. And why is the modern and sexy version? Because here you have, oh, I got shot in the shoulder. I got shot in the upper part of my, okay, I got shot in the upper part of my abdomen, lower abdomen, back, okay. So it just specific parts of the haptic vest vibrate, not the whole thing. Much more, you know, targeted effects. This is from a company as Real Acid Gex, ARAIG. And, you know, again, this goes back to what I showed you yesterday, the lady, right, with the HMD and the little wing effects, okay, which it plugs in to become almost like Darth Vader from Star Wars here, right? Again, you have the haptic effects, so the olfactory effects as well as the wind effects. And as I was talking to this other student, you know, they disperse. So what you do is, of course, you keep them localized around the area of the user, like that. And as I told you yesterday, of course, they copied my work. Okay, I received zero pence and 0 pounds in royalties. But you know, here they have the comic mic, which is extensible and which directs the scent to the user's nose to minimize the effects of dispersion, as well as to facilitate emitting just the right amount of aromas to the user's nose. And of course, here I have another, you know, all sorts of other devices hooked up together in a nice multi-sensory extended reality type of environment. Okay, and this work we did around 2 years before, and we published it. Most of our work has been published. And here, this is in that publication which came up with this blueprint. Now, this blueprint is just about hooking up, you know, some Arduinos with some microcontrollers and other things using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and easy of use. For any final year, third year undergraduate, it's a nice project. It's very simple. Nothing not rocket science, okay? We gave you the ABC of doing that, of hooking up together. And, if you want to tell you, but George, how much does it cost? Well, here we have it all costed, all right? Okay, it's costed in pounds because that's where I pay. Much of it is more or less free. Okay, what you have to pay is probably around 400 pounds, which is, almost what? Just the cost of a medium spec mobile phone. All right, that is much less than a laptop. So for 400 pounds, you can build yourself your whole Mulsemedia system, which I think is great. Okay, you can have, Mulsemedia at home. But of course, I am biased, all right? All right, so I'll finish off with my most famous 2.5K slide, all right, work. So what we don't realize is that when we go in 360, because the videos are in 360, the amount of work that and bandwidth that it takes is absolutely enormous. So 360 is great, but the computational requirements and the bandwidth is really, really bad. Okay. So there's a lot of work done in the area. So what I wanted to do was, okay, are we able to create a bit of magic? All right, by increasing quality of experience with almost no impact on the underlying networking resources. So we had, this is the famous, photograph of my student. And, we used the Mulsemedia DIY setup that I told you before. Oops. And we had 3 different 360 video clips. One was of a lavender field, person walking on a lavender field, gentle breeze of the wind. Here was a coffee shop, okay? Somebody was doing a cappuccino in a 360. And this is, obviously all of them will have a roller coaster. When you go up and down the roller coaster, and you have all sorts of sensory effects. What sensory effects are there? Well, each video clip was 60 seconds long. Let us take the lavender. You see here, W is for wind, S is for scent, or aroma. So because there was a gentle breeze, there was a wind set at 30% intensity, which was throughout the video clip. And when you reach here, you switch it off. The scent was a lavender field, so very strong lavender scent at 100% intensity all throughout the switch it off. The coffee, nothing. At this moment, there is a short wind effect from 100% down to 0, because that was when they were steaming the milk. You do the cappuccino, the milk has to be steamed up. So this is the steam. Okay, nothing. Cappuccino is ready, coffee set at 100%, gradually going down. The roller coaster. Roller coaster starts with the person being on top of the roller coaster. Sorry guys, if you want to see better, you can sit here, okay? Here, the wind is at 30%. Okay, you are on top of the roller coaster. You then go down the roller coaster. As you go down, what happens? The wind intensifies. So the wind goes down. You go down. The wind goes, when you reach the bottom at 100% wind. At this moment, you see that I have scent at 100%. What is here? Here, you are emitting a mechanical scent of braking, because when you reach down, you reach top speed, and the roller coaster brakes. Yeah, you apply the brakes. And then when you go back, slowly up again, the scent goes down to 0%, but the wind, because you are still pretty high up, even though you are going back, okay, goes down to 50%. And then you go down again, and you brake again, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this was the sensory effects annotation of the 360 videos.
How did you do for the sense to go down the exact period?
Sorry?
You said that, for example, in the...
Like here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did you do to diminish the sense intensity from 100 to 0 in this exact, or it was not that exact time?
Switch on, switch off.
But does the set keep going all the time? Because usually
will still be some latent effect. Yeah. But because we kept in, so we were emitting a relatively small amount of state to the nose. Okay, so it was not dissipating, it was just directed. Okay. So yeah, you're totally right.
You haven't used the wind to dissipate?
No.
Because you had wind.
Exactly. The wind effect was there, but the wind was separate because that was so that was why we were fairly confident that the wind and the olfaction would not interact too much. So you're fine. That's good. That's good. Okay. Here we have the 4 encoding segments that we know from yesterday. So what we did was each person saw the clips with and without sensory effects. All right. But for each clip, it was encoded at one quality, and they did not know the quality that they were viewing. All right. So as I was saying, this was the design. All right. They saw it multimedia, Mulsemedia. This was the order of the clips in which we rotated in order to balance any order effects. And for each one of these, the encoding quality was constant, whatever it happened to be. So we had 6 users. These are the, and which we repeated cyclically, and we had 48 users in all. Was it 48? I had what? 48, I remember correctly. So they had to answer a quality of experience questionnaire made up of 11 questions. All right. Okay, this was the first 3 questions. Again, you had 4 questions each, targeting olfactory and wind effects. So 4 plus 4 plus 3, 11 questions. All right. So, what about the quality, perceived quality? This is the famous magic slide from yesterday. Again, this is Mulsemedia interesting. This is traditional audiovisual multimedia interesting. Across all encoding qualities, clear statistical significant difference, clear daylight. So no doubt about it, multisensory virtual reality. You want to call it extended reality, go ahead. You want to call it metaverse, multisensory metaverse, go ahead. Is always better than traditional audiovisual content. This is where the magic comes in, because here, 2.5K quality, it doesn't matter if it's Mulsemedia or multimedia, 2.5K quality is always better than 4K. So the relationship is the following. If you can increase the bandwidth the quality from HD to Full HD, go ahead, because the quality is significantly greater. If you want to go from Full HD to 2.5K, you don't really need to, but if you can, go ahead. If you want to increase from 2.5K to 4K, don't do it, it's a waste of resources. Okay.
Why would they feel like on being forced into
I think that's the question.
I see why Full HD to 2.5K is not an increase of what, and I get thinking that way, like how could 4K be worse received?
Why? Why was it perceived? Sorry, how? Sorry, what was your question?
I can see how you can lose. How 2.5K is not better received than Full HD, but how is 4K worse received than 2.5K?
It can be many potential reasons. It can be because you are the viewing field is so close to your eyes that You don't really care. Like maybe both 2.5 and 4K were done with a different field of view. It can be because maybe in virtual reality we're not yet ready for 4K from the rendering point of view. Or it might be that people just don't notice. And even if they notice, they don't care. Because when you do quality assessment from 2.5K to 4K, you are always having people with perfect vision, perfect visual quality evaluators. You and I am not a perfect visual quality evaluator. I'm average. So it might be many reasons to be confirmed. But yeah.
Let me do this test.
Yeah.
Each person try all the quality.
Each person tried one single quality. We did not tell them but each person tried one single quality with multisensory, without multisensory. Again, we switched the two together. Okay. Not for the same person, for the next person. So if you do it first, you do it with multisensory, and then without. When I do it, because I change the order, so there's no bias. That's the problem. That's the beauty. You don't tell people what quality. Because if you tell people, I'm showing it with 2.5, with 4K is the best quality, we are not salesmen. All right? If you are a salesman, yes, you tell people, yes, go for the most expensive TV. Go for the package with best internet quality because we need your money and you want to pay for it and we want to make you feel that you're paying for something which is worth it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not a salesman. I'm a scientist. Okay. All right.
What means the y-axis?
The y, it's the mean opinion score from 1 to 5. Mean opinion score. 1 to 5. 5 means perfect quality, right? And so on. Very good quality. 4 means good. 3 means average. Let me tell you another thing about mean opinion scores and how you code them. If you go in England, all right, the middle point sometimes is labeled as okay, right? Okay, good, and very good. If you go to a country like Italy and you use the word okay in a opinion scale, guess what? In Italian, okay means it's okay. It's pretty good, right? So even opinion scales, you have to be very careful to the audience that you are applying against. Maybe, I don't know, in Brazil, when you say something, it's okay, means a bit better. It's okay, is it like más o menos, okay? All right. In Italy, no, it has been shown. You say, it's okay, hey, it's not bad, okay. Like again, not bad is a very English thing because not bad means actually pretty good. Right, so, all right, so it's also, just be careful when you use, don't import, gringo scales to Brazil without testing them on the local population. Right, okay, it's the same understanding. Okay. Okay. So does video dynamism impact the user perceived quality and enjoyment? Not much. All right. This is in lime green. This is the Mulsemedia. This is Multimedia in blue. No, the results are pretty inconclusive. Sorry, I'm wrong. It had a significant effect on the enjoyment factor. So the dynamism does impact the enjoyment factor. I beg your pardon. But not on perceived quality, okay? To enhance the sense of reality, here this is in purple is the olfaction and in blue is the airflow effect. Not much. I mean, I'm sorry, they enhanced it, but not statistically significant. They enhanced it because they're all around format is not specifically significant between HD, Full HD, and so on and so forth. Okay. Results about the annoyance. Do all of these sensory effects annoy users? Now, 4 doesn't mean that they annoy users. 4 means they don't annoy users. Okay. So most of them are around the 4 mark, which means that they're pretty flexible about annoyance, and that doesn't vary either according to an encoding quality or according to the clip dynamism. Do they distract users? Exactly the same type of profile. Again, no distraction, irrespective of encoding quality or clip dynamism. So, of course, once again, my famous clip from yesterday. Now, I think this is beautiful. All right, and of course, I'm biased and so on and so forth. But it does show what happens when you start talking to people and putting people in the center of the design and development process. Okay, because it's not about us as technology developers, it's about the end user. And you have always to listen to the end user. And you can never see the world through the end user's eyes unless you ask them. And even if you ask them, you have problems because sometimes the end users, they don't communicate on the same level as you. Okay. So, conclusions. Yes, perceived quality was higher when Mulsemedia was in use. 12% in terms of perceived quality, 13% in terms of enjoyment. As I said before, if you go from HD to Full HD, please go ahead. From Full HD to 2.5K only if you really need to. And don't go from 2.5K to 4K because you have this beautiful effect over here. Click motion level, people. How we enjoy the quality that we associate with content also depends on our affinity, our affective notion, our affective relations to that content. If we like football and we watch a football clip, we are more likely to be paying attention than if we are looking at a clip, I don't know, about baseball. All right, maybe baseball is popular in Brazil, I don't know. Okay. All right. So you see, this is what I'm trying to say. You are all human beings. It is, of course, you bring what you like and what you know, and you bring your own cognitive and affective baggage with you when you are rating. It's impossible for you to be objective. You are subjective. Each one of us, you are all individuals, yeah? Each one of us is subjective, and we are all right in our own special little way. Okay. So yes, Mulsemedia, I'm very happy to say, has the potential to enhance QE. Now, and this is where I stop talking, all right? Because I'm always asked, but how can we apply artificial intelligence and machine learning, not at blockchain, in Mulsemedia? Okay. And you know, my answer is the opportunities are endless. Because what we did was, quite a few years back, we devised a 5G scheduler for 360 Mulsemedia traffic. And that 5G incorporated reinforcement learning, all right? So what was it all about? I'm going to, of course, you know what the situation is. We have an ever-increasing number of mobile devices, which are now as powerful as a laptop was maybe 5 years ago. So the power of a laptop over here. Of course, improved CPU, improved graphics, hopefully a better multimedia experience, especially if they listen to users. On top of that, you have the content providers. Why? Because the content providers would like you to pay for their content. So you're doing that. Okay, and of course, the next big thing is 360 video over 5G. But you have on the other side of the fence, you have the core network operators. That if you are going to start sending 360 video, you can have, a 10 to the power 5 times increase in the amount of traffic over any type of network. So how are we going to support that, if at all? Well, you're not, because there's going to be an explosion of data traffic. All right, so you're quite constrained. So why? Because you want to provide an enhanced quality of experience, as well as providing very stringent quality of service requirements. So anyway, to cut a long story short, what we did was we sent 360 Mulsemedia over a simulated 5G network. Now I'm really getting tired, so okay. What were the 3 parameters that we were trying to optimize? The bit rate, the packet loss rate, and the delay. So these are the values. You want to have a guaranteed bit rate of over 20 megs per second, a packet delay of under 10 milliseconds, a packet loss rate of 1 in a million, as well as increase all of them at the same time, maximize all of them at the same time as possible. This, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is a suboptimal problem. Okay, you can't solve this with traditional, statistical and regression tools. So this is where you have that wonderful thing called machine learning. Okay, and you start applying this min-max optimization problem. Okay, don't worry too much about the architecture. I can give you the paper. It's not a big issue, but it's just that it was all about scheduling the 360 Mulsemedia content to be scheduler and to have appropriate quality levels at the end user. Oh yes, you remember when I said that you have foveated rendering, all right, and you play background at low quality, foreground at high quality mode. Surprisingly, this is what happens in 360. You play the user's viewport, where the user is actually looking at high quality, in dark shades of blue and purple. In lighter shades of blue and purple, you have the background. Okay, so this is what is happening right now in 360. And of course, what we did was we wanted to mask some of the artifacts that were happening by playing lower quality multimedia sequences by enhancing them with Mulsemedia effects. Right, so with olfaction, so we are assigning specific tiles with olfactory effects, and if the user was looking at that, the olfactory effect would kick in or not, as the case may be. This is the classic client-server type of architecture, where you have different types of streams coming here and being selected for transmission with different quality. It's for those of you interested in quality of service, this is bread and butter to you. So again, of course, like any good multimedia thing, you start off with a low quality and selectively build high quality as you can. Right. So it's called layered encoding. And all right, so all right, let's go to the results. So, okay, this is the modeling, all right, the min-max optimization problem. You have the scheduler state space over here. This is the scheduler, this is the environment. You have the controller. So what you do is you feed the data into the controller. You feed the environment also feeds back in the controller. Again, over here you have the scheduler, which depending on the reward function, which is tries to maximize, you then schedule them according to the maximization of the reward function. So the results that we had were very simple. We had 4 different types of scheduling functions. The first scheduling function was biased towards the bit rate. The second was biased towards the delay. The third was packet loss rate. And we had machine learning based scheduling, which combines all of them to maximize all of them at the same time, okay, to make everybody happy. So here was the first one, was biased, I think, towards the bit rate, okay? So here we see that, where's the GPR? It is this one, yeah, okay, this is the one, okay, so it doesn't do so well over here, here it does the same as everything. Here it outperforms all the others, and here as well as. So you can see here most of the time it works. This one works better than all the others, but it has a surprising because it was biased towards the bit rate. If you look at this one, which is biased towards delay, all right. So here you have the orange one, and here you can see here orange one is the highest, orange one is the highest, orange one is the highest, orange one is the highest. Again, very good results. Okay, but it's of course biased towards the delay. When you look at packet loss rate, okay, this is this thing in blue, not so well over here, not so well over here, not so well over here, not so well over here. So it's one place where it didn't actually work very well, even though you are biasing the scheduling towards packet loss rate. And then we have the actor critical type of scheduling, where you can see, you know, it's a clear winner across every bitrate transmission. Okay. So, can you apply artificial intelligence and machine learning in Mulsemedia? Yes, we can. There are many ways you can do it. One way was what Sergio was saying, that in order to personalize content, because you want to personalize what we are experiencing, what we are seeing. So you can use intelligent algorithms to suggest and personalize content for you. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to finish off with some future directions. As I told you many times, I repeat again, Mulsemedia is not a panacea. Of course, I'm passionate about it, but it is not a silver bullet. It is not a magic wand. You have to be very careful about targeted uses. We've talked about e-learning, e-commerce. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to sip a bottle of wine, or if we were able to smell a perfume before we bought it for a loved one? Yeah. When you read on the website, this is a perfume with a sense of jasmine and musk, and what the heck does that mean? Because all of us, we understand something different. Yeah, we have no recollection. E-health, again, I talked about surgery and so on and so forth. For training, again, not only in a surgery, but in firefighting, dangerous environments. You don't want firefighters to train in a dangerous environment. You don't want people to debug a bomb. All right, you want to train people to debug a bomb in a safe manner. So you do it in virtual reality. In tourism, wouldn't it be great that you had the sights and sound and aromas and smell and temperature of Brazil everywhere you look? Maybe for Brazil it won't be so great because then people will not be coming to Brazil, right, anymore. Okay, so maybe, right. But who knows? Who knows? Okay. So all sorts of, virtual museums. Again, there's a lot of heritage that we are losing, and the heritage is not just, traditional audiovisual heritage. It's much more than that. We are losing it. I always say that, Mulsemedia like multimedia is an end-to-end thing. So you have to capture it with electronic noses, with RGB, whatever that is. You have to distribute it. You have to render it, and you also have to edit it. So it's an end-to-end chain, and of course, it's a very sexy applications of learning and commerce and everything else. But you have to think of it in a holistic fashion, because if you don't think about it in a holistic fashion, then you're in trouble. Deborah and I are working on the editing side of things. Okay, so there's a lot of work to be done in that. Like artificial intelligence and machine learning are being applied, aren't they? Okay, this is the same thing. Okay, this is a capture decoding, a traditional end-to-end type of architecture for Mulsemedia. So ideally, I'd like to do everything. Do I have time? No. So this is why we need a lot of concerted effort throughout the world to address each and every type, each and every stage. finer slide. Maybe not. Of course, for me, what does the future of the internet taste like or smell like? It's very important for me. How many of you have heard of Proust? Who is Proust? A famous French football player. He's a very famous French author. And one of my most favorite, to cut a long story short, he has a very famous scene when the protagonist goes, many years as a mature man, he goes and he tastes a little Madeleine, which is like a little Bolinho, exactly. Okay, you are. All right, so he tastes it. And then the whole book is about how when he tastes it, it uncovers memories that were hidden in his subconscious. And because Shora was asking, but you are priming the readers. Of course I'm priming the readers. Because this is what I want to do. I want to prime readers. I want them to uncover potential, unused portions of their brain for all I care. All right, because you know that we only use an infinite, big, small amount of our brain. So can we use other types of sensory effects to stimulate? I don't know. I love to. We were talking with Deborah over lunch that at the moment, for that everything for the metaverse, we still don't know. We don't have any formal explicit representation. And the same is true in Mulsemedia. I've talked about the chain, immersive VR. Peter, we are all wearing glasses, yeah? We are all wearing necklaces. We are all wearing earrings. All of them can be imbued with small sensors to give us around the face a Mulsemedia experience. Yeah, we can put a little thing on the bridge of the nose here, for sensory effects. Here we can put some airflow, to have airflow, caressing airflow over here. But we can do further than that. We can go implantable Mulsemedia. We can have Mulsemedia implanted in our bodies to enhance us. We have 5 senses. I said there are more. But there is a person who has implanted a sensor. No, has implanted a sensor which will always tell that person in a gyrometer what if it's going north, south, east, or west. You don't need the sun anymore. You always have the gyrometer and tell you are going now south, southwest, north. So you have additional senses on top of your 5 or 6 or 7 biological senses. Okay. And of course, with miniaturization and so on and so forth, these things are all a possibility. We are all wearing, earrings, prosthetics, and so on. We are all wearing the Bluetooth ear things, hands-free devices. Why not? Of course, artificial intelligence and machine learning for grid computing to have, more efficient ways of allocating resources is very important. And, all the rest, like I haven't mentioned performing arts. Okay, so all of this. Okay, this is where I shut up. You have a lot of bibliography here if you want to have a look. Right, this is Deborah's and my paper. We got the runner-up. Runner-up means second. Okay, doesn't mean that we were also there. It means second. All right. So I'm very proud of that too. Right. So yeah, we wrote a lot of papers. And I've worked with a lot of amazing people. I've been so fortunate to work. So yeah, I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any. And I hope you have, because we have a quarter of an hour left. And I haven't yet. Oh yes, my friend, yes.
Can multimedia devices be used to people like blind people?
Of course, yes.
Or almost blind?
Yeah, you can use them because you can use because maybe they will not see, but you can give them the sensation of seeing, okay? Because it starts in their mind how they associate, okay? So if they associate a particular sound with seeing color, okay, and so on and so forth. If you have a receptor and it translates the scene to them in a language they understand, that would be great. That would be amazing.
And what about planting sets? People that can like face blue.
Yes, that is called synesthesia. Yes, so you see, oh, this color tastes sour, and this song smells of jasmine. All right.
It tastes red.
Yes, exactly. Because you have all of this, we don't understand this very well. All right, and we don't understand this very well in the physical environment. Yet even less so when we transport into the digital environment. And what I didn't write over there is these two words, digital twins. And why is digital twins? Okay, it's a sexy word, not as sexy as blockchain, but it's sexy because, to my mind, many digital twins, they look at the real world and they do a one-to-one mapping between the real world and the digital world. And it doesn't work like that. Because in the digital world, the interactions are totally different. So this is a naive translation of the physical to the physical to the digital. Okay, so it's very difficult to do a good digital twin, right? It's easy to do a twin in a digital world. It's very difficult to do a digital twin. Okay, yeah, sorry. Boca fechada. Okay, sorry. All right. Any other questions? I hope I haven't bothered you so much. Yes.
A lot of concerns regarding plans for Mulsemedia application and tools. Like it's basically transhumanism, right?
Yeah.
So it's besides that point, nowadays we are cornered to using devices by big tech. So if we manage to start using advanced devices, that would be three things. Like my cell phone cracks, all right, everybody knows that, but I can throw it away. I can throw my arm away. So it's very delicate, isn't it?
Of course, it is. The issue is, I'm not saying, it's a free choice. It's your choice if you want. No, I'm not saying you should be forcibly implanted, okay? It's your choice to be implanted. It's your choice to have a mobile phone, yeah?
Kind of.
What do you mean kind of?
Not anymore. If I don't have my phone, I can finish my graduation.
I'm sorry. I think you can finish your graduation even without your mobile phone. I'm pretty sure.
Because I know the words to do. But you can nowadays live without a phone, like social. So
How could we live 20 years ago without a mobile phone and still do PhD degrees? I don't know.
He doesn't know this too.
No, it's not. I am not saying this. I'm not advocating for the technology. I'm saying what they are.
Yes, I understand.
Saying is we as a society have come to be obliged to wear or use these
I
technologies.
totally agree with what you're saying because, like if they want to have a certificate that they came here today, they need to scan a QR code in the door. So like they can't just throw this away, So what if we all had implants, or most of us had implants? So we would be required to do like beep when we enter the room. So I am forced to have something sideways scan. This is quite weird. Especially if this is like a private company with a closed code that I don't know what's inside. This is a bit scary.
I wasn't very aware of my surroundings 20 years ago, but I can say for sure that 20 years ago, you had the choice to own, well, not this device, but when it launched. But today, we don't have
No,
these features.
no, you have a choice. You always have a choice, right?
Yeah, it's worse.
The system is
The
The
important.
system is against you. No, I would say, no, you have a choice. Or whether, okay, you also have a choice to carry the OFI that having QR codes is discriminatory against people who don't have mobile phones. Okay. Unless when you sign up to UFI, there is a clause in the student behavior thing that says you have, in order to access our courses, you have to guarantee that you have a mobile phone. And if you sign up to that,
And then
then
all
you-
universities use that clause, and then, so
Yes.
as a graduation, I am obliged to sign.
but nobody forced you to sign.
But then you're excluded of the whole society system.
Yeah.
You
Then
don't
you
get
can take UFI to court or whatever university court and say this is discriminatory. Because not everybody in Brazil has a mobile phone or has a mobile phone capable of scanning QR codes. We are discriminating against that section of the population. And in England, you probably would be in trouble. From a,
It's not a matter of discrimination, but a
of
matter of.
course it is, because the ability to scan, your ability to graduate depends on you or your ability to scan a QR code. Yeah? And if you are unable to scan a QR code because you don't have a mobile phone for whatever reason, whether you want it or not or whatever, that is beside the point, that is discriminatory. It's discriminatory. It discriminates against people who don't want to have a mobile phone, against people who cannot afford to have a mobile phone. So you say you take UFI or whoever to court, and you will win.
No, it would win if Mulse wouldn't give the resources and students.
Okay.
Or if you, yeah.
So they can
If
offer
you don't
me
have
on my arm
information.
with a microchip.
Yeah, if you offer an
Such a
implant,
viable
it's
level,
okay.
you can ask Mulse for the money to.
So again, we have no choice.
The
I have
university
to
has,
self-implant myself.
Or can we back to the past and do with paper?
I think to be fair, okay. I
Job
think
is different.
Yeah.
He wouldn't like to buy a mobile phone.
what UFI should do, or any other, should provide a QR code for people who are able to scan QR code. So it's another way of formalizing their attendance to people who don't have a QR code. It's fine. Okay, so they should provide it, but here the assumption is that all of you, So which one of you doesn't have a mobile phone?
No, but that's the point. That's the point. Nowadays, everybody has, but you simply cannot choose not to have, because we are past that point. What I am questioning is, we are not on the level in which we can choose to do an implant. We can dream, I'm going to implant compass on my forehead, and then I don't need the sun anymore. Yeah, I can dream of that now, but it's not far-fetched to think that in a near future, I will be obliged to have an implant on my forehead to whatever.
I don't think we're going to be obliged.
I think it's an important point to discuss because I think, I don't know, I'm not from this field, but it's an important topic for people who are developing this type of technologies to bring
Yeah,
the ethics
exactly.
points and
I think
discussion.
with ethics, it's always a question of informed consent. Right? So you consent to having the mobile phone to be implanted, and you are informed about the risks of something. So ethics is all about informed consent. And again, if you say yes, I'm happy, that's fine. If you say no, I'm not happy, that's also equally fine. And no problem. But it's all a question about informed consent, right? So I don't think we are. I don't want us to become, implanted against our will, right? Okay. It's that of course is awful. You have to, you have to be, but be careful when you give your consent, okay? Because it can lead to, there's a Pandora's box of this, so be careful. Because now oh yes, I go to this website, accept cookies. Okay, and in order to decline cookies, you have to go to another 5, boxes, and scroll, and the last option is decline and whatever. So you make it okay. No, not 10 years ago, I did a study on Facebook. And in order to customize your security preferences to something from the default, you have to go through around 8 different screens, okay, to get there. So they make it as user-unfriendly as possible. Of course, because it's all in their interest to collect data about you and to give and to keep you from withholding that permission. Whereas I think the default position should be we don't collect cookies, so only we collect only the necessary cookies. And if you want, you should agree to additional cookies. Whereas the situation is the other way around. And as I told you, Mulsemedia is not a panacea, so not everybody will want to be implanted. Not everybody wanted to be vaccinated in COVID. Already, so come on. All right, let's not go down that road. Okay. So I'm sure not everybody will be implanted. But they say, oh, you're going to be implanted. Your government is going to monitor your situation. And who knows? It's weird when you once you get implanted, what big data can do to somebody who's interested in your data.
Yeah, I feel like we as researchers of the field should be conducting these kind of questions.
Yeah.
Like, how can we develop this, but minimizing the possibility of it becoming mandatory?
I don't think I mentioned the word mandatory anywhere there. Okay, so
But I did.
you did. But look, I think I'm a strong without talking politics. I'm a strong advocate of free choice. But with free choice comes responsibility. So you make your own choices and you take responsibility for your choices. Okay, and those my words are the characteristics of an adult. So you are an adult when you take responsibility for your choices and you make them. You are free to make them, and you are free to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. You have to learn from your mistakes. But don't start blaming others for your mistakes. Not you personally, but generally speaking. That's when you start becoming an adult. Right. And yes, it's easy to be brainwashed. It's easy to succumb to peer pressure. Yeah? But you were not here yesterday where you had you are all individuals. Okay, for those of you who are not here yesterday, let me show you. No, I can't because I don't know how to share my screen. Can you what can you see now? Okay, so sorry, I'm not sure why. So it's slow. It hasn't had I don't know. It's what am I? Why?
Maybe
Wi-Fi.
Maybe the Wi-Fi. Hey, okay, I really should have played this. There is life. There is life. Okay, watch everything. Okay. So, there we go. Okay, so, okay, this is okay. So this is my favorite video clip. All right, and it's from a video movie, a very famous movie from maybe, I think most of you were not even born yet. Okay, and it's about a movie called The Life of Brian. Have you heard about the movie The Life of Brian? You've seen it. You've seen it? Okay. So it's about, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's about a person called Brian. And that person's misfortune was the fact that he was born on the same day and in a very close place to Jesus Christ. And then all his life, oops, I'm getting too excited. All his life, people were looking at him for Jesus Christ, like, oh, the Messiah, the leader, the whatever, you know, and he's telling people, look, don't look at me, I'm the wrong person, leave me alone. You are all capable, you are all great. And this is a very famous, one of my most favorite scenes in a British movies. So let's have a look. So this is Brian. A blessing, a blessing. You've got to think for yourselves. You see, that is the guy who didn't want to be in cloud. Okay, so you see, this goes back to what you are saying. You don't feel any pressure. Okay, you can work it out for yourself. Don't say, yes, we're all different, and all of you in chorus. The choice is always there. It's a difficult choice. The choice is always there. Don't make easy choices. That is the real thing. They always have a choice. But sometimes the difficult choice is one which, for whatever reason, we don't take. But anyway, this is my favorite ever video clip. Okay, so I always tell my PGC students, look, think for yourselves, don't come to me. All right? You are much more intelligent than I am. And you guys, the same applies to all. All right? Okay, wow, I managed to talk till 5:05. Wow. I never thought I would talk for so long. All right. But you've been a highly engaging class, so thank you very much for bearing with me for 3 hours. Okay, more or less. Okay. So thank you. You want to compare assessment? Okay, no problem. All right, excellent. I'll give you an evaluation questionnaire, a 1 to 5. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We have another coffee break in the room 270, and there's going to be another talk, Professor Stefan at 5:30.
So thank you all for attending. Thank you very much. Obrigada, galera.
Can you switching off? Yes, switching, sure. So, okay, yes, like language. Maybe, I haven't checked with, Alexandra. It's already,